Right. I just love that the transition just worked perfectly and totally didn't mess up at all. Good evening. Oh dear. Good evening.
Full screen projector.
There we go.
There
Good
you go.
evening, ladies and gentlemen, friends and viewers of the U Idaho Esports Twitch channel. My name is Kaz, joined here tonight by the Overlord, bringing you some regularly scheduled content. Nothing special going on for April Fools. I heard that Sidestream is doing something interesting though, so if you're curious, you can go pop over there. But in the meantime, we
Might
are
be a
going to be
little
playing some
interesting
very
event.
normal Valorant.
Yeah.
Tonight, our JV1 team has a match. Second round of playoffs, now in
Yep.
round of 16, versus the University of Pittsburgh at Greenburg. So it's not actually in Pittsburgh. It's a sub school. It's fun. I did do a little bit of Greenburg research, and it reminds me of Moscow in a lot of ways. It's very.
We're talking about the environment itself.
Yeah,
of
it just
Waynesburg?
looks like, kind of old and small, and has a population of about 15,000.
I mean, it is Pittsburgh.
No, it's like a I think the name is Township. I don't think it's like actually a township, but it's like a smaller town that's outside of Pittsburgh. But regardless, they have a campus there and they have an esports team, and we're playing their Valorant team today. I think that should still be a pretty fun time. I believe that their rank averages are about the same as ours, which I think have actually increased as we have gone through the season, seeing as Bradical has finally hit plat. And
To be fair, we have had incentive after what happened with a couple of the other matches. like the giving away the free map.
That's true.
I would think that would be a really good incentive to make sure you stay on your ranked grind.
Yeah. No, I mean, at least everything worked out. You know, we've gotten pretty far. I can't see the same for the varsity team. But,
Yeah, it was an unfortunate series of events that got them kind of disqualified early on.
But
not
JV
even disqualified, more
just
like
they just lost their
lost
opportunity
on-
to qualify.
yeah. The whole team dynamic being split after the unfortunate loss of Do Hyun for the team dynamic really caused issues.
But JV1 and JV2 are both in their round of 16s.
Yep.
In the ECAC, and in, I guess, particular, I feel like JV1 has been the most successful. They did go 2-0 last week. JV2 went 2-1. Even still, played a great series all around.
And even in terms of maps won, JV1 has been doing phenomenal. I want to say, including the round 32, they have won somewhere around 11, 12 maps in total, and I think JV2 is at the 10 mark. So not terrible, but JV1 has been doing so phenomenally well this season.
Surprisingly so. I feel, you know, it's very easy to discount a team like this one just off of the fact that they're called JV1, right? But do not undermine this team's ability and skill. You know, they are incredibly coordinated. And they've pulled off some amazing feats as a team together that I don't think really anybody else would have expected, right? Last week, that 2-0 that we saw versus a team that was heavily favored to win that matchup, with like the Immortal, the Ex-Immortal, and I think just a general rank range that was higher than ours.
And keep in mind, they on an individual level may have been higher ranked, and as a team they played more cohesively. But the skill level between players was so much favored into the Vandals, despite what the ranks would tell you.
That's true. And I think that just really came down to like map options. First map of that series ended up being Lotus, and that was very much Fraudby's map.
Yeah, Fraudby and Kawa absolutely dominated. Fraudby obviously taking map 1, Kawa destroying map 2.
So, I mean, both played pretty well, I would say. And just looking to bring that same energy into this matchup here. Starting on map 1, split JV1 from the Vandals are going to be running Brimstone, Breach, Tejo. Looks like Jet and Killjoy.
That is correct.
Which
still don't like Jet picks, but
I mean, if it works, it works. I just don't even think that this is a Jet map, really. I feel like this is more of a Raze map, but I think
I would say
in
Raze
this
or
context,
ISO.
I feel like
think
in this
ISO do
context,
very
though, what am I thinking of? Sergio kind of lucked out not having to play into a Cypher, and instead is playing into the Killjoy utility, which makes the Jet matchup, I think, much more fair.
I would say make it even
negligible. Yeah, I mean, in a lot of situations when you're playing the Jet, and you're dashing in, you're dashing into a tripwire and like a one-way cage, and you get sprayed down, and it's just not a lot that you can do about that, right? Whereas in a situation of just the Killjoy, maybe like it's a couple mollies and your team gets cut off for a second, but
it's pretty easy to avoid alarm bot.
Yeah. But you do have the swarm grenades to worry about, right? And, you know, if you can't deal with those fast enough, like, that just ends up being detrimental for you.
And it looks like First Blood is going to be taken by Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Snoopy did find themselves a couple, but Zoms, who was trying to hold down the site, did get taken out. Bull does find their one. Wow! Oh, dear. Finding theirs, getting traded, and Snoopy there for that follow-up. They just, I mean, Snoopy had fallen and nobody had really taken care of it at all.
An easy triple first round for Snoopy on Ghost. But to be fair, pistol rounds have never been exactly our team's strong suit, if you know what I'm saying.
I mean, we did win the pistols. I think pretty much all of our pistol rounds last week, minus the
one.
second half of map 2.
Yes, but that's only for playoffs.
That's true.
I was looking at
haven't
some of the
seen a lot
VODs
of,
previously. Pistol rounds have never been a Vandal strong suit. It's okay. We typically lose pistol. We lose 2, go 3-4, and then fair game.
Now, something I do want to comment on for Pitt Greensburg, at least in this case, is having that KO. If you notice that Flash does behave a little bit differently now because of the new changes that came out literally today, which I actually thought were a joke. Because it is April Fool's. Yes. KO got some new changes to his Flash behavior. So now it pretty much only pops when it bounces off of something. When it does bounce off of something, it takes about half a second for it to activate. So
no way we won second round.
Big round.
Why aren't you picking up the Vandal? Why did he keep the Spectre?
Money. I don't know.
It was right there.
I guess he just didn't think about it. I don't know. But I could also see the money excuse. Because I was too busy talking about other things, I forgot to actually cast the round. The Vandals had a very nice execute onto site. Got things smoked off, got site cleared pretty fast, got that bomb down. And just able to take Radical so
on
much
a
so
classic
fast.
Beat an assault rifle is
Radical had a
shame.
Spectre.
Smoke.
Sorry, I was meaning when he used his classic to take down the Spectre on the Vandal.
I see.
Yeah,
I didn't realize. That makes sense that he was on a full save. Fraudby finding that one in mid and making a little bit of space for the rest of the Vandals who are looking to make that execute maybe towards fence, maybe towards tower. They're holding flank. They see Zoms. That's a second for Fraudby here. KO trying to make his way through vents, or at least holding it. It's a little bit of a staring contest into the vents floor here.
It's whoever
waiting to see whoever goes
lose.
first. Kawa is here on a deep flank. Everybody's holding angles today.
And that's just how it is in this type of environment.
Kawa should have heard the knife. Didn't get detected by it.
As long as you can really hold your angles well, kind of just Oh, never mind. Sentism didn't even shoot off a single shot.
Just unlucky gun diff, you know, but that's so funny.
Did he get jump scared by salvo?
Left.
Well, he had to back up because of the salvo, and then Sergio just got a very lucky road shot. And then, yeah, Vandals take that round. A very nicely played. I was a little bit concerned about how a lot of these angles were being held and for how long they were being held for, right? You know, especially with Kawa's flank on that KO. Either he could have pushed up or I don't know. I think he was waiting for the rest of his team to like come in. And
if you have the advantage, playing
Reckless is not ready.
Kind of can sometimes end up doing reverse of fates. And when you're at a place where, hey, it's single elimination, we want to make it to the finals or even further, I'm sure they want to take it all the way. A single mistake because you're getting bored or impatient can cost you a lot.
But there's also a little bit of like ego that comes into that, right? Knowing how to push those, knowing how to take those timings. And I think in the case of Pitt, anyway, they kind of, I don't know, they lost a lot of momentum immediately losing someone off the bat, and then immediately losing someone, I think like 20 seconds later, seeing as Zoms tried to push that flank through mid and then also died to everybody holding back. Seems like we're moving a different way. Vandals trying to take Heaven. Snoopy holding right here. Gonna swing. Oh, but hit by the stun and the flash just to push him away.
You know what's getting worse than hit by stun or flash? Getting hit by a bow.
Taken out. Oh my goodness. Zoms finding himself quite a few, and Sentism finding that last one to tie the game up between Pitt and Idaho.
In the span of half a second, the entirety of the Vandals got gunned down.
It happens. We lost a lot of time, obviously not dealing with Snoopy, because we hit the util and then nobody followed up on it, and it was more so just to displace them, which I suppose you can do if you're playing Tejo, or I mean, really any character, but mostly Tejo. The only problematic issue is that I guess that's more what the salvos are for, right? You're gonna use the salvos to displace somebody, not really a stun.
Yeah, force them to go where you need them to be.
Zoms hit by the crawler and taken out. Kabwa there for the trade for Radical. So at least they have these smokes up to commit the rest of the site.
And they do have Killjoy ultimate up here if they want to force people to stay off of Spike.
But I just don't know if the Vandals are going to be too eager to use that
this early.
Yeah. But we'll kind of have to see since they're taking out Froggy, but Sergio finding one Kabwa, finding one of his own. Bull there for the last one. A very nice end of round. A very strong post plant from this team. I mean, so far, the competition
really enjoy their post plants.
The competition looks pretty even between these two teams, which is I'm very happy about that. Even if it is like one team has an absolutely dominant round, and then the other team, you know, has to like claw their way through that win. Seeing that the score in the competition this early in the half is this close, you know, it
has a little
really
tension
good.
of being able to see, okay, which side's really going to pull out ahead in the end? Because so far, it's up into the wind to see who gets to secure the dub, as the children call it.
Especially because the economy is still super equal right now, right? There's no real saying who's going to be able to find that snowball
the
first.
Vandals still currently have an economic advantage because they were able to, you know, secure that pistol round in round 2 for free weaponry.
However, right, there is still the situation that they're facing where some of their players really had to force to buy util and guns and shields this round. So if they do happen to lose this round, that might mean a save round into the next one that will allow Pitt to take that lead later on. It also looks like Zoms didn't buy.
Here we go, Armageddon
Very
coming
curious.
out.
Armageddon
dashes forward.
Clear sight just a little bit. Senses isn't finding one of his own. Looking for another, finds 2 anyway. Finds 3. And that's immediately going to push Bull off of sight. Knows not to take that aggression.
30 seconds left.
No one was respecting Synthesisms there. His line of sight control was magnificent.
I mean, I feel like that is really just going to come down to those 50-50 gunfights that I was talking about last week. Where, I mean, if you're taking those against players that are better than you, they're more often than not going to win those, right?
10 seconds left.
And in the case of Synthesism, he knew how to swing it. He knew how to take those gunfights to make them fair.
Weird call having Killjoy ult come out so early in the defense.
I kind of like it, especially because it stalls the push. And if they can stall it just for a bit longer, even if it means waiting for one, they should have heard at least the one from Heaven. Kabwa, knowing not to peek it just yet, but they're looking for the aggression. The breach hold also coming out. Kabwa there to get Synthesism. Wowbot just getting trolled on site. All of the breach util is getting dumped. And that last one for Ball.
I have to say, I love the way Kabwa played that. They were willing to risk themselves to take out Zen so that Radical could be the hero of the...
Bull?
Yeah, Bull can be the hero of the round because he was the one that wasn't stunned. Beautiful teamwork display.
Especially since it was obviously the smarter play to have the lower health player play as the bait, right? Even if, like, if that character is mechanically, or if that player in particular is mechanically sound, is able to take those gunfights confidently. Yeah, it's like, yeah, just play me for the bait. I've already used my util. I have nothing to do but shoot. In the case of Breach, had all of his util, popped his ult, which I honestly was not expecting, but I'm honestly glad they did, because that was the kind of push that the Vandals need to start gaining a little bit of momentum in this half. Now, not too much to say just yet. Broadbeat does take out Snoopy. Zoms there for the trade. Bull takes out Zoms for the follow-up. Candidus finds Jet. Sergio overstaying his welcome a little bit on site.
I think that did not go as well as they had hoped. They now given.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
And I guess that's why they call him Wowbot.
Yeah.
Make me say wow in shot, you know? Did he just runs out, pulls out his gun, immediately hits that. I mean, you don't see that every day for sure.
I mean, rushing for B point, losing the 2 rifles, transitioning through mid. Now they have neutral guns. It's just an unfortunate set of events. And Sentism wasn't even checking his angle as
One enemy remaining.
Come on, not having to John out the
getting
ball.
time diffed.
There to piss.
Oh, but this is...
The Clove ult, mostly for the information. WoW's going to run it down and create a lot of pressure very fast.
One enemy remaining.
Boom! There's one. Taps the
just
bomb.
live.
All
Just
he
live.
has to do is stall. Wall dies. That's the round for the
Ring
Vandals.
around the rosies. Are we 3 years old again? Come on.
Oh my goodness. An excellently played round from Bull. One that very quickly could have been lost, right? I mean, he won that gunfight against Cantidus by a very slim margin. And had Cantidus either, you know, just hit that headshot or hit one more shot,
Or even
that
just
could have
stalled
been
and had the shots like keep him there for half a second longer for Clove to get behind him.
But it's, you know, they were too focused on causing that pressure, right? I think was where a lot of that came down to for Hit. I don't know why I was blanking on that for a second, but obviously Cantidus needed to run forward, needed to cause that pressure. In the case of Bull, I mean, he was getting pinched. He had to push forward. He had to make something happen
Down mid.
in this situation. Just not able to. Synthesism finding one. Putting the numbers back into the favor. Oh my goodness, a beautiful flick onto the head of Sergio, but
At this
Synthesism trying to just anchor down Pit, doing everything possible. Kalba taking down Zoms, and Radical taking down Synthesism. Canted is there for the trade, but numbers once again are looking not
Don't do it, Kawa.
great.
This will lead to your death. I know they're holding over a point, but you cannot stop both these lines of sight.
Well, they have that KJ there. There's not a lot that they can really do about that except wait for someone to push forward if they do. Because they know that's where the bomb is.
And if
They
they-
have
30
to push
seconds
it.
And if they try
Oh,
Last
Kawa
player
finds it
standing.
anyway.
I got the spike.
Doesn't know where the other is. Sees Snoopy a little too late. And that's going to be a rifle for at least one of them.
It is so sad watching the amount of time swing dip has been happening here. Everyone looks away at the exact wrong moment. And I don't know if it's a gamer sense somehow, but it seems like Kawa specifically can sense when people are not looking in his direction.
I mean, that's also to his benefit and detriment at times. Benefit because he is able to timing deaf people, and detriment in situations like that. I feel like that could have been very easily addressed by just not immediately running away. You knew there were 2 people left. There was a great possibility that both of those people were going to be holding for the spike, playing together, playing off of each other for a trade, and that just didn't happen here, right?
And as
Cantidus,
such, that just let him take one apart. Thankfully, his teammate covered the end part, but
Sergio here, clearing sight clear. Rest of the team out. See that molly coming out from Sensitism. And the Killjoy out from Pittsburgh. Fraudby there to take out Wybot as they try to ego out of ramp. Callbot taking out Snoopy. Finding a very nice one on Sergio Babol there for the trade after being full flashed. And oh, Radical there for the trade. Disrespectful with that Spectre in hand.
Sentisism, I really have to say, Sentisism is pulling out a lot of heavy work here. It feels like it's him trying to 1v5 people more often
I
than
mean,
not.
really, it's been looking like a 1v9 with Sensitism.
Yeah,
It's-
so far it's been mixed results, but he's been doing really well under those circumstances.
It's really Sensitism against the world, which, you know, I have my heart out to you because you're a KO player, or at least play KO when I play KO. I'm very happy about that rework. It just made him feel so good to play.
Because he has a little bit of his own differentiation factor now.
Which it makes him, because his flash is so much more reliable than it used to be, it allows him to be a lot more selfless, which is where I think KO thrives.
Oh, really?
And I think his ability to do that, I mean, allows him to frag out like a duelist would, right? This is where Sentinels
No
has been
way
able
Kawa
to
tried
find
to pull out
so
the
much benefit
shorty.
out of this. Vandals got the spike down. Cantidus finding Fraudby trying to swing out. Ball there to cover Sentinels, there to find Wowbot.
Last player
Snoopy
standing.
falling to Sergio. It's just Cantidus on side, and Bradical is going to be the one to take care of that.
They completely got like, bamboozled with them swapping in and out of the corner from the different angles. They kept on having their sights adjusted for the other one, and the other one just pushed forward, and either the bolts are too high or too low to do enough damage.
I mean, they are playing spectacularly this map. I'm surprised that things have been going this well for the Vandals thus far. I can't even lie. From earlier on in the half, it really did seem like there was going to be a lot more even competition, as I had talked about earlier.
When it was at a 2-2 frame mark.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, I mean, it seems like it's pretty back and forth. Money's pretty even right now, and that's good. That's what you want to see. But to see how the Vandals have just, taken so much control over this half, very, very nice. To see Cantidus getting so much damage onto, like half their team and still falling anyway. Kawa there for an aggressive flank is planning on taking the ropes. Here's the footsteps, knows to back up.
I have to say, Cantidus, kind of lack of fire control ruined that play for him. He knew that Sergio was pushing
Which is
forward.
so funny. He just got so much damage off and couldn't finish it. Kabwa there for Wowbot holding down Vince. That's that flank situated. But now it's just Sentisism and Zoms, both very lethal players. Zoms here for the 1v3, spamming through the box. Knows that one is here. Gets the finish on full. Gets it on Sergio. Fraudby there for the cleanup. Radical getting plenty of damage on to Sentisism, and Fraudby there for the cleanup once again. A nice 3K out of round 11. And I mean, so far, it's obviously I can't call it flawless, right? A flawless half, but
taking down 3 members for free with, well, I say free, they did take damage, but as long as you don't die, it's free.
I mean, they just made so much progress in that round on its own, and it seems like every single time that Greenberg even has like a slight chance of taking that round, something happens that completely flips the script in the Vandals' favor.
Getting the jaws of defeat within the grasp of victory. I completely agree with you. And to be fair, this is kind of going to be, I can only predict that the Vandals win this round. We go to the half, and that's where the rest of the game is determined. Because I don't think Spectre's going to win full Vandals with full utility, and they don't even have full shields.
Well,
but to be fair, I have said stuff like this before, and it immediately gets reversed.
let's see. Obviously, Zoms is forced out of their position because of the Killjoy on site, which should... Sergio finally getting his first 2 kunai kills of the season. That's beautiful. A very awesome entry out of Sergio with the help of the Killjoy ult, obviously.
You know what that
I
means?
can't use that.
He is the 3rd on the list of 18 deck players that I have had to spectate over the semester. That is a success rate of,
He's got 3 kills.
he's got more than the other 2 put together.
One enemy remaining.
Kawa there for that one, looking for the other. Cantidus finding that trade on Kawa, but under a lot of pressure with just that Spectre, finishing off Sergio, right? Sitting in front of Bull,
One enemy remaining.
losing the classic fight. It's just Cantidus,
And Tejo's
but the
nowhere
salvo's
near.
there to push Cantidus off. Fraudby is just toying
And
with the
that
spike.
should-
He's gonna push up, and Fraudby there for the finish. That's a 9-3 half out of the Vandals, ladies and gentlemen.
Switching sides.
This is a fantastic start off for this match. Now, and to finish off a point I was saying earlier, 3 out of 18 Jet players have gotten a kunai kill with their ultimates. And this is including them using their ults, not the ones that have ult and didn't use them. That is a success rate of 1 in 6. And honestly, that only goes to prove why Jet is bad.
Well, I was talking to Sergio after last week. He had some pretty not great kunai plays, let's just say that. And he was like, yeah, I just don't really understand how it works, so I just got to practice it. It definitely shows. Every single time I've talked to a player about, something that happen during the map. And they're like, yeah, I just have to work on it. And then they work on it. And then, you know, they show that improvement during the series. It's so great to watch. And that kind of improvement is exactly what you want to see.
Identifying your weaknesses and being able to push forward despite them shows that, hey, you have the will, the determination, the drive to push forward and improve. Because if you stand still and are lackluster, you're not going to be able to continue moving forward in this type of competition.
One enemy remaining.
What is going on?
We love the
We
love the bar fight brawl in the middle of center.
You know what? Nice shot from Cantidus, gotta say. He's making good space for himself.
Got him a little bit
with
of
that
XP
dismiss.
a little bit of HP back in the end. Don't know if it'll be a big enough difference. There is only 45 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, they don't have that spike. It's getting held pretty hard. Don't have a reheal just yet. Trying to hold for heaven. It's just a matter of who gets caught out first, and it's going to be Kawa. Cantidus does get hit by the
30
charge,
seconds left.
but knows to be a little bit careful with the way they're playing this.
Especially since bowl of cereal is one tap from literally anything.
Cantidus
gonna let
is just going to full ego B. I think. Oh, they think they're rotating. They should have had one anchor. I mean, I understand why they did. Obviously, one is low. It's good to have one play off of the other. But right now, Cantidus is on ace pace. And with ball on such low health here, if this gets played wrong,
it would be
that could be a pretty embarrassing pistol round.
Yeah, I would have to say that's what I would go for. Is he gonna tap?
They don't know.
Enemy
Oh,
remaining.
no.
Okay, that leaves it just a bowl of cereal. And he does not win as Cantidus gets a straight ace.
Lucky timing. Cantidus pulling that round back into their hands by sheer grit and will.
That was embarrassing.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Cantidus absolutely outplayed them, but it goes to show, like, they're trying to prove that Synthesism isn't the only strong player on this team right now, right? We've seen some moments out of Zoms. We've seen some moments out of Synthesism. Now it's Cantidus' turn. And, I mean, while that was a really good pistol round out of him, we didn't take second round. So I'm curious to see how that plays out in the context of this half.
You know how terrifying it is to see Reyna getting ult on round 2?
I don't think they're going to use it. I mean, what, Cantidus buying up and then ulting round 2. It's just, okay. And that's unfortunate for Zoms.
When you turn a pistol into a shotgun, things happen.
I love that the Classic can do that, honestly. Is one of my favorite parts about Valorant is just the right click.
And I mean, as long as you're able to handle
Synthesism finding himself a perfect 3, looking for that third and being rejected. Cantidus there for the late follow-up. And round did not go as well as I'm sure they hoped.
Before he turned the corner, making it so that he could not shoot his Classic twice.
Which, it's fine. I mean, that's a round that you're expecting to lose anyway.
If you lose one, you're going to lose 2. That's just how it goes.
In the case of this round now, obviously, rest of Pitt Greenberg looking to play off of a lot of, never mind, a lot of them are buying up. I reject that statement.
I think they said, hey, we can't afford to give them any of the rounds. It's already 5-9. That's such a huge difference. We let them take round 3 and round 4. We're going to be so devastated for time the remainder of the matches.
A lot of damage on a Snoopy through the smoke. No finish, but it might be enough pressure to make Pitt Greenberg, sorry.
Reyna used ult there.
Oh yeah, she opened with ult. Just didn't push off of it. Yeah, I mean, the damage onto Snoopy, I think, might have been enough to make them kind of rethink how to take this push here. Zoms dashing into sight. Sergio deciding to reposition. He's like, you know what? Not worth it. They're pushing on. The rest of his team is here for the rotate. Sergio caught in the knife and dirt. Is Zoms going to push it? Unsure. Kawa does find 1, 2, remain. Finds the third from backside. Well, does find Sergio. But running forward, Bradical's going to find that one. Zoms falling to Bradical. another round on the board for the Vandals. And, I mean, what almost looked pretty shaky, but we came out of that with 4 people left standing.
Sergio being able to buy time there was so crucial. They had so much of their stuff focused towards dirt, and all he has to do is wait 10, 15 seconds for this team to actually rotate from mid and down for the side sweeps, and it results in such a phenomenal pincer movement. So, you know what that means? Pittsburgh shot themselves literally in the foot by doing a force buy on a non-force and still losing the economic advantage that they were starting to develop.
Yeah, there were some buys from last round that I don't think I agreed with too much.
Very questionable.
Going into that, I mean, there are obviously a couple rifles on the side of Pitt, but in this context, well, I mean, I don't know. Zoms falls, Cantidus takes down one of his own. The numbers are even once again. Only difference is that in this case, Pitt still has a duelist up, so I guess they can entry a little bit.
But the biggest thing that's going to be needed here is, hey, we need to cover our flank, because if they do what they did again, we're going to be in a terrible position. But we've taken out one of their biggest utility pieces, so they can't stall on point for that type of circumstance happen again.
See the knife come out. Still no information. Still not enough for Pitt to push off this.
Here.
Cantidus and Kawa just barely missed each other.
Well, Kawa should be about to interact with him in just a half a second.
See, oh!
Out.
The massive flick shot!
Flick that Kawa will ever hit right onto Cantidus' head. That is why Phantom is looking pretty good.
30 seconds left.
Synthesis trying to enter. Getting some damage on the bull, but still not being able to finish anything off. Sergio sprang into the smoke.
How was Sergio not punished there? There's so much about that. Okay, so
Production just put their hands up and was like, well, that was around, and I agree.
First. If Synthesism was able to swap guns faster, he wins that duel somehow. 2, Sergio, buddy, main man.
I actually, Cantidus had a gun out, I think.
No, he was
Well, I
swapping.
mean, it's because, was he swapping or was he
was
just
swapping.
coming off of the rope?
He was swapping.
Oh, that's unlucky.
Yeah, he had a grenade
Never want to
out.
get caught at. You never want to get caught like that. Oh, I guess they had their leer out. They were expecting someone to be deeper in heaven.
Yeah, and then when they went to rounds, Bull was just right there in his face.
To this, looking for their one.
We're almost on the map. If the Vandals win here, we'll be on the map.
See, oh, Paul actually finding one of their own, but Sergio is gonna fall to Snoopy as Pitt make their site execute, pushing in with that KO. Ult, Paul taking out Wow, Kawa taking out
One
Snoopy,
enemy remaining.
Cantidus, and Synthesism.
Now, the real question here is, can Pittsburgh even afford
Match
another
point.
fit out for this? They don't have a choice. Oh, this is going to be everything they have.
Yeah, they absolutely have to force. They have no other option but to.
But I don't think they have enough for full util.
Probably not. And if they do, I mean, that is... If they win the round, I mean, they're still going to be stretching themselves thin,
This
depending
is
on how
such
many
high
people
risk,
die
high
this
reward.
round. And obviously, if the Vandals win, they win. It's map point for the first map in the series. And I got to say, a score that I don't think a lot of us were expecting to see.
Yes, so far 5-12 has been kind of one of the more dominant matches, if I'm to be honest here. We usually get something more across the lines of 9-13.
Yeah, I mean,
Either us or them. It does happen.
Typically, these are a lot closer. I will say, though, I will notice that the Vandals are kind of holding this pretty much just as it's another Tuesday, which is good. I feel like what happens to a lot of teams when you get this far into a map is something I typically call game point choke.
Where their nerves kind of get to them and they're like, okay,
well,
we have
it's
to
not
make
even-
sure we win this, and they get in their own heads.
It's not even nerves. It's like when you get to a gap, when you get to game point on a gap like this, like 7 points, 6 points, like 8 points or something like that, you're going to feel yourself starting to play a little sloppier. And even if that other team is on a save, there is a very good opportunity of you losing that matchup. So I think it's very important that the
30 seconds
Vandals
left.
are playing this carefully and cautiously as they have been throughout the rest of the map. playing this like another normal round, because that is what is most likely going to lead them to success in this round.
If you have a plan that works, don't think, especially on map point.
And I mean, so far that's looking like it's been working. Bull Kawa found some of their own, but that spike still goes down for Pit. Ow, finding one in elbow. Oh my goodness!
It seems like
that is so unlucky.
Pittsburgh has so many people who play for the I'm going to be the person who gets the frag this game. You're not allowed to have it.
That's
because we've
wow.
gotten 1 ace, 2 quads, and what, 4 triples?
Something like that.
And although I respect it, that is not what you typically see in this kind of level of play. It's everyone's working off of each other. Sure, you may be able to get like a double and help with the 3rd kill, but this not necessarily like self-centered gameplay, but self-centered gameplay is incredibly risky.
There's a big ego from Sergio though, playing so deep in main, getting a little shots off just to create a little bit of pressure.
Ready for this.
It's a big pinch between main and part of the angle that you can't even clear.
They're so scared to go through garage.
Cantidus, I think, saw the jump peek out of vent. Or not. Zoms, does clear for Sergio. Radical finds 2! Pre-firing on Zoms there to delay the push from Pit. They're able to recoup that spike.
That was disrespectful. You know, I was going to say, I think the Vandals have this map, but catching Tejo completely unaware like that, baller move.
That's just so funny.
Complete display of dominance.
And you know what's even funnier? There is a universe where that just went completely wrong for Cantidus, and
where he just stood there, and then Tejo just pulls out his gun and taps him.
Yep. That's too funny. Radical.
Yeah, this is going to be a terrible situation for everyone because
30 seconds.
On
Are we
ace
getting
pace
another
right now.
ace?
Never mind, shut down.
Radical, he choked.
But Cantid, no, he was just high out in the open. It happens. Cantidus running forward, taking quite a bit of damage, trying to get pushed off by that Killjoy. Just barely catches it.
0.36 seconds.
But only has so much time to get this spike down.
10 seconds left.
Ults. All that Cantidus needs to be able to win this. Sees one up in heaven. I think here's one drop. Cantidus looking to find these guys off guard once again.
Well,
Caught go in the stun. Oh, looking to swing this, but Cantidus is still able to take that call off. Finding it. Shutting down that ult and ending the round. First map to the Vandals.
13-6.
And I mean,
Defenders
excellently played.
Okay,
Honestly, again, I was expecting that to be a lot closer than it was, and the fact that they made it that.
I feel kind of bad for Centism. He was doing so well those first 5 rounds, then clearly something must have changed either the way the Vandals were playing or the way Pittsburgh was playing. Because all of a sudden it was, oh, he's doing really well. His teammates are playing around him. He's finishing up these fights too. Okay.
Where is he?
Yeah, where
I didn't notice him at all.
Why are your teammates no longer working together again? It became, okay, let's see who can win these gunfights on a 1-to-1 basis. And then I was like, oh, you want 1v1s? How about 1v3s?
And I don't know. I feel like sometimes it just happens where you end up being a first half player, and it's whatever.
It does happen.
I'm a first half player. Maybe that's a KO thing. You're just first half player.
If it makes you feel better, I'm a no half player.
if you pop off at all, it's during the first half, and he's can't get anything done outside of that. But still, an excellently played map by both teams. I feel like again, so many times that Pitt had an opportunity to, take a round. The Vandals just flipped the script into their favor, and I think that if they can take that into next map, maybe there's an opportunity of them being able to correct those mistakes, or the Vandals continuing to capitalize on that and just 13-6 again. I don't know.
In response to that, I have 2 comments to make. One, I think a good reason why Pittsburgh is struggling so is that Kawa plays like a madman.
I mean, Kawa's just in it today.
Yeah,
like he's just
he goes for random flanks. He never gets caught by the util because he knows exactly where it's going to be placed. He's playing Killjoy. He knows where the sound alarm bots are going to be, and he always wins his gunfights. He lost like what, 2 out of 19 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, he just had an
it's just
absolutely dominant map. And I'm hoping to see it again. And I'm hoping that you guys are too. We're going to go on a brief break in the meantime. So go get yourself some water, go get a snack, go use the bathroom if you've been holding it, and we'll see you right back.
So
Welcome back. Ladies and gentlemen, viewers and friends of the Uedahu Esports Twitch channel, my name is Kaz. Joined here tonight by the Overlord, bringing you some regularly scheduled Valorant content.
We hope you guys are able to enjoy the break. We're going to be getting right back into the swing of things within like a minute, maybe two. And we have a little bit of some news for you. We have determined what Map 2 is going to be if you want to go and inform our listeners.
So Map 2 is going to be Lotus, which I think is best case scenario for the Vandals anyway. I would imagine that it's our map pick.
It is indeed. We have gotten it confirmed by the players.
Yeah, I heard Fraudby in the lab talking about how confident that he feels on Lotus. And I mean, after last week, I would believe it. I feel like he had a pretty strong map
dominant showing
on Lotus. I feel like most of the team did. And I don't know, I'm kind of just counting on them to play for mostly the same. I think
they win this, we go to quarterfinals for JV1. And I can
optimistically speaking, anyway, that is, I think, what we would all want to happen.
And I can only hope JV2 is going as well as we are right now.
Which, I mean, I know they were playing, I just didn't see how they were doing. So if
we
someone from Second
Stream
Stream wants to inform me on that, that would be super awesome. But let's talk about Pitt for a little bit, right? Because, again, there were a lot of situations, a lot of rounds that they really should have won and just were not coordinated, or were not as coordinated as the Vandals were, right? And therefore just not able to lock down whatever it is that they needed to do in order to get those wins.
It feels like, honestly, something broke from them round 3. And afterwards they're like, okay, you guys somehow won 4 despite what happened. And then downhill from there. And I'm not entirely sure what it could have been. I don't know if that was when Kawa got like a 2-man flank into their backline when who was playing Reyna?
Cantidus.
When
yes,
Cantidus got lost the 1v1 into the flank and then Kawa got the double. That might have been like, and I'm going to use COD terms, they might have squeaked over it, where it's like, oh, how could you lose this? You just cost the whole map, and then frustration builds from that point. Which I don't think anybody at this level would get frustrated that easily, but it does happen on rare occasions.
You'd be surprised. Be surprised. It happens. But I think either way, there are just a lot of little things that are adding up that are leading to the failures that UPIT is experiencing, and I think if they're able to kind of cinch those up just a little bit, should lead to a little bit more success in this map. I don't know how they've rehearsed this map, so maybe this is a good time for the Vandals and not so much for them. We'll just have to wait and see.
I mean, from what I'm aware, anybody who plays Valorant knows Lotus. Lotus is one of the staples of the game.
It's an easy three. It's an easier 3-site map, right?
How did Cantidus get hit by the Tejo salvo? They were playing.
It had
dangerous.
to have been bait. I think he stepped out and realized it's like, oh, they could push and pick me off. So instead, I'm just going to wait until one of the beats happen so I can step back into it and not take as much damage. Which I think is a kind of smart play, but then I feel like you still have even more to worry about in terms of getting picked off later because you've taken damage.
Yeah, 50 HP is super easy to clear out.
Kawa taking out Zoms in, I mean, I didn't even see their head, but I guess the ping said so.
Kawa is going to go ahead and claim first blood of map 2.
Arc Rose taking out, Sergio taking out Synthesis as they go through drop. Kawa and Fraudby fighting there. Snoopy is not finding the shots they need to finish that off and letting Fraudby find that last kill.
That was straight disrespectful.
Oh yeah, it's
make sure you can him.
One of the Radiant Entertainment System finishers. Very awesome. I like that bundle a lot. I have the op for it.
Something I want to make note of in that previous round is Sentisism clearly knew something bad was going to happen. If you saw the way his hit screen was going, he like, I know someone's up there and I know someone's down on the ground floor, and he just swapped between the two and couldn't sell it on, so you just see his cursor stand halfway through. I think the hesitation got to him.
You just can't do anything about that, really. See the salvos push up lobby pretty hard.
They're really trying to rush forward against them.
Oh, yeah. They're looking for a flank, and they can't find anything. Kawa has already repositioned pretty quickly, finding Wowbot. finding Zombs, but Snoopy's there for the trade. Already having 2 down this early into the map is, or this early into the round anyway, is
sure.
It's not what you want.
Sure, KJ's out now, but for taking down 2 for free, pretty much, super easy setup for the remainder of the round. And even if they do pick up a Bulldog or a Spectre or something along those lines, it's not going to be enough. They've already set up onto site. They have breach charges ready. They have Omen Flash, well, Darkness, but they have so much set up here because they just gave up all form of defense.
And I mean, as we saw, Cantidus was on site and just let the Vandals plant.
One enemy remaining.
And then immediately got traded. They did find their one, and then Radical found that trade. And once again, Radical is going to be the one to find that last kill, taking out Snoopy. Finding a second round for the Vandals. Making a pretty comfortable start.
The way defense was played was so funny and so horrendous. Just, okay, we give up defense. They'll take site. Okay, we lost 2. They were on site. Let's go and try and do a tap to warn them. Darkness, breach charge.
I mean, you just
breach charge through the wall.
You can't do that so well. And something that I'm very glad that the Vandals have been taking advantage of in their comps for a lot of these maps, especially considering the maps that they're strongest on being Split and Lotus, is having that synergy between your Breach and your Taeho player. Their util works together perfectly, and having those 2 players that are just so on top of their game when it comes to both util usage and gunplay is so important. And the fact, you know, they've been able to do that very well, I think.
I agree. The synergy between them is super important. Being able to get like a concuss off into a salvo charge, or being able to set up smokes so that Taeho drone can go through and secure vision, or even just setting up annihilation with Armageddon. It's so many wonderful combinations you can have from just these 2 characters alone that can secure entire rounds.
Wow.
They-
But being taken down out of the door. See what I did there? Door being broken down. Snoopy finding one on Radical. Oh no!
Player
Wait, that's
standing.
it? Oh, never mind. I lied.
He missed his shots, unfortunately.
The dash, I think, tripped him up just enough. But a successful round 3, about what you want to see.
1-2. They take 3.
A pretty normal start.
And we don't force on 4, right? Surely we don't force on 4, right?
We're going to force on 4. That's how it
Keep
works.
this momentum.
I mean like how they did on map.
Oh, well, that was because they lost second round. And we're like, we're just going to force it and make it work. And then they didn't make it work.
Because if your economy is fine, you can go for go for round 4. It was more of making a sly nod, nudge. No, I'm saying
I
towards
just
Pittsburgh.
completely missed it. But I mean, in this,
It's fine. I'm about as subtle as a freight train.
It works in this situation, obviously, because they won round 3, just able to play with the rest of their money or weapons that they have. Some of them weren't able to buy, which ends up being to their detriment. Soupy does find Radical randomly through the smoke. I love finding kills like that randomly, but it's always so sad when I do it. I'm like, oh man, guys, I'm not cheating, I swear.
Go ahead and get the breach ult out, and we have securing of site. It's going to be Snoopy up in the... Senses is
Taking out Frogby, Sergio taking out Snoopy. Snoopy knows exactly where Wildbot, or I mean, Snoopy knows... Oh, Sergio finding a nice shot on the Censuses, and Kawa there covering Sergio's back. Cantidus is trying to play main here. Pushed off by that Raze nade.
I don't think there's a whole lot Cantidus can do here. They will have to just secure the
Well, you know,
gunshot.
he has won these before.
Enemy remaining.
Don't tell me he's going to do it again.
We gotta see. Hit by the alarm bot is vulnerable. Taps the spike. Playing a little bit of ring around the Rosie. Egos, but can't get their crosshair on their face. That's gonna be another round for the Vandals, securing that lead even further. Just feeling all the more confident.
Cantidus is doing their absolute best to try and get any sort of psychological edge, setting up the bait shot, going ahead and trying to go for reverse around the pillar. And to a degree, it's working, but the circumstances are just not enough. It's really sad to see that the way this map is being played, because I feel like all their util is gone so quickly, or just taken up before it can even be used. And then you just try and clean up what you can.
Which, I mean, in the case of the Vandals, is very good. I feel like that's something that they learned about the team from last week. Is mostly just playing off of making the enemy team waste all of their util into a round. Using that Killjoy to flush the rest of the team out. Cantidus detained deep in CT, but still not going to be able to push off that. Anyway, Salvo's used a little bit too early. Going to allow Fraudby to get that plan off.
And now it's just going to be a matter of, hey, can we stop him? Can we win the post?
Ball taking out Wowbot. Snoopy taking out Fraudby. Zombs taking out Ball.
One enemy
Numbers
remaining.
are just falling quickly, but not fast enough. Radical and Sergio able to find one of their own, forcing a 2v1. Now 1v1. Snoopy takes out Sergio, taps the bomb, creates a little bit of pressure for Radical.
He just has to stall for time.
Shoots, giving
Snoopy
away
sucks.
his position.
Snoopy hurt him.
Taps the bomb again. Smoke on bomb. Radical looking for it. Knows where the bomb is. Gonna step in. Get it
And
done!
he wins there. I am both astounded and impressed by the fact that they were winning the pistol duels versus versus the Vandals. And it's peak goofiness, and somehow it's working.
And you know, the funny thing is when it's up to Radical to make a goofy play, whether it's
executes
literally
100%
just
of the
I'm
time.
moving around and I'm holding left click and I'm not letting go, he wins those. You have a Vandal and I have a Spectre and I'm trying to fight you mid, I win those.
He has the ability to bend the rules of probability always into his favor. The more goofy it is, the more likelihood it will succeed.
Use that.
They're not clearing for Zombs, able to get away with that for free.
Man straight up kidnapped Sergio.
Very unlucky. See the flash go out, the smoke. Surprised no one is holding for it. Radical finding that gunfight against Senses and Wowbot. Traded out by Snoopy, but Kawa there for Cantidus.
And
Zombs there for Fraudby.
2v2 on the map. We have Armageddon, but they have kunais. It's just a matter of who can execute ultimate better. And it looks like kunais are coming out. Can we go ahead and get planted down before they go ahead and reach for point?
I think it is
One
going to be
enemy
a
remaining.
better opportunity for at least the Vandals in this situation. I think have the better util.
It's Zombs against the world.
And the World God.
And Zombs,
World God.
you are not put on the scoreboard of the Jets.
Yeah.
3 to 19? 3 to 19.
Something like that. I mean, Zombs popping. I was curious by the player. He's like, yo, I'm going to get a little bit aggressive. I'm going to pop kunai here, even though I think he had a normal weapon.
Yeah, the Vandal.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was expecting him to just use the Vandal.
Yeah, I would expect. So, the good thing about kunai is that it is self-reliant. You don't need anything to follow up after it if you are good. So, you use that on rounds where, hey, I'm not going to go for a heavy loadout. I have my Vandal to go ahead and take care of it. I'll use kunai, win the round, use the gold from that to go ahead and get my kit set up for the next round. You typically don't use it when you're already full and ready.
But you realize how you said it only works if you're good? Thought.
How many rants have I made about this very subject, and how many of those you said, but an ult used for flash is worth it?
So sometimes aura ults are worth it.
No!
No. Because I do have a point there. However, Zombs in that case, that wasn't an aura ult. That was just a really bad ult.
Is Wildbot gonna get? Is he gonna get an ace?
He's certainly looking for it. Radical shuts him down, getting revenge
Wasn't
for...
it Wildbot that stopped Radical from getting his ace?
No, he was ult. So Wowbot ulted, and Radical did get that kill. It was Cantidus who followed it up with the trade.
Oh, that is right, because it was him on Reyna that was able to survive after the initial charge.
Yes. Now, a very nice round for Pit. Very unfortunate that the Vandals had to
very
lose
much
that
needed.
since so many of them were putting up so many resources to, can just continue buying rifles and normal weapons and such. It's just always a really shaky situation to be in. right?
Well,
Playing by the skin of your teeth.
Well, yeah, but the fact that they have to play on the skin of their teeth, it allows them to what I call the more reckless side of Valorant. Because it seems to me that they're trying to have a mix of two game styles, just fast and loose and then slow and methodical. And half their team is dedicated to one and the other half is dedicated to the other. And it's causing a dichotomy, a schism between the players' play speed.
Two reference. Said schism.
Oh.
Go ahead. Stand
But
Cool song.
but
What? Huh? Canton died to fall damage.
No peeking.
Where is that even possible on Lotus?
did they jump off here?
Last player
They have
standing.
forced like jump off the map.
Sentism. I realized that I was saying that wrong after last map. It's sentism, not sentism. But they found their one, deciding not to ego that, save their weapon.
Just throw salvos, dude.
Just
do
throw
it.
salvos down at yourself.
What?
You get-
No, that's not what I was
Yeah,
saying.
you get more money if you get more money if you die, right?
Yeah, but he has
he already has a Vandal. He's trying to save. No, but
Killing them is easier than all these.
You know, you're doing really good. You're escaping to
Where-
keep your kit.
your
But
Vice, and the issue with Vice is like Vice doesn't have like, it's not like she has an updraft or anything, so you can't really get to like high platforms anywhere on this map that you'd be able to take fall damage from. So I have no idea what I just saw.
I could only assume they went onto a ledge after being forced out by Bull, and then just accidentally jumped off the map.
No, there's nowhere you can jump off the map here. It's not like Abyss is the only. Well, no, I think Abyss is the only map where you can fall off the map.
Then if that is the case, I am
And
completely
Sergio just
sure.
ulted his own teammate. Oh, never mind. It was their ult, which makes sense. Yeah, Canton is taking out Bull.
Spike down. C.
And taking
One
down
enemy
Cut the
remaining.
team pretty well. That's 3 in Zoms for that one in the
That
back.
was the second flawless so far between the series.
Wow.
You know what we should do?
I mean, a
Hell yeah.
rough round to lose, especially since you're just coming back from that.
Dominant victory.
I wouldn't even say dominant. I mean, you were just getting to a point where you were able to stabilize your economy, and now you're suddenly getting pulled back out of that once again.
I'm not liking that buy, Sergio. I understand you're playing Raze, but
No, I like it.
because I know
He hits those one pump.
Well, yeah. Well, the thing is, obviously, we know the plan is okay. He's gonna do charges around the corner and try and blow someone up.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so much space in between these areas that unless if they're playing incredibly aggressive, which they have shown not to be for the most part, you're just gonna end up dead for no reason.
Or you can do what he's doing right now, which is basically just playing for Rat. This is how you mostly play Bucky. There was a comment made at some point. I think I was casting with Fenrir during the Big Sky Championship for Valorant, and there was a situation where some team, I can't remember who, was consistently having to buy like Spectres and Stingers and stuff like that and try and take long range fights. I think this was on Bind. And something that Fenrir noted to me is the team is trying to take a lot of fights that their guns just aren't fit for. You're not going to try and take a fight that you would with a Vandal and a Stinger. And
Yes,
in that
Stinger
same case, you're not going to try and take a fight with a Bucky that you would with a Vandal, which is why he had to wait to get so close.
And like kind of
down.
circle
Anything.
into a position
Last
where
player
you can
standing.
force close.
Very unfortunate situation.
But you know how you just said that? You know how Sergio just lost close range combat with the Bucky?
I mean, yeah, but it was a timing diff. It happens.
It does happen.
Yeah.
It's just okay. Which side is calling timeouts? Oh,
Us.
it looks like it is cut. That is
Us.
Hood us?
Yes. Hood is the coach.
We have a coach for Valorant?
Yeah. He's the guy who steps up. He likes our JV teams a lot, and
I mean,
he's
there's plenty to
supporting
like.
them greatly.
You can see the face palming. They're like, "Oh,
I was
how
like,
could
oh,
we let
we've-
that happen last
we've-
round?"
And now the situation that was happening last map with Pitt, who consistently were losing rounds that they really could have won, is getting flipped on its head, and now on the side of the Vandals, who are losing maps or not maps, but rounds that they should be winning, just to tiny little mistakes that keep adding up, especially since I mentioned earlier on in the half that the economy was really shaky. And sure, you could find a couple rounds, but if that gets disrupted even slightly, Pitt should be able to take advantage of that.
Which
and
they
so far
are.
has been able to do that.
And building off that point, I think it's going to be another one. That was a semi-force, especially from characters like Sergio, leaving them with such little funds that they might just have to say, hey, have the point lead, just take an eco round, do what we have to do. And it looks like that's exactly what is happening.
Vandals.
What if we win these? It's happened before. It's
it
happened
has
multiple
happened
times,
before.
actually.
It really just depends on our ability to play smart, and I think that's why that timeout that we just took was so important. Vandals looking to make something, either a pre-plan for the eco and everything past it, or something a little bit later.
We'll kind of just have to see how this plays out to confirm that's a switch.
Because, I mean, it's kind of hard to play for an eco round. You know, it really just comes down to,
Especially
are you
if
able to
it's
hit your
like-
shots?
Especially if it's like towards the later rounds.
And it's pretty late in the half, so I feel like there's a little bit more that you can get away with, but even still.
But that also goes for your opponents. Because, okay, people have ultimates ready, their util will be more easily accessible, and then obviously the gun difference.
It's very fair. Oh. And that's exactly what we're talking about. You know, Snoopy falls very quickly, pops that ult, tries to push up to get a little bit aggressive, shoots down the door, right?
All missiles away.
I think the breakables got sent toward the door. Zon does find himself two there. Ult does take down Snoopy, but I mean, so many of the rest of the Vandals are falling after that.
If Rodney could maybe get another one, that'll make it a little bit better, but he does not land the shots.
Is what it is. It does happen.
It happens.
But now
There's
we're
nothing
in
wrong with that.
last round of the half. Pitt having found themselves 3 rounds in a row. And I think just looking to close the half out pretty strong. They do have that Visal. Vandals almost have that Killjoy, given Kawa might be able to find a kill to open this up. Or at least find an orb.
You know what I find ironic about this? It is much closer into map 2 as it should be. But
That's what I'm saying, though. I mean, last map should have been this close. I feel like there was no reason for it to be as big of a gap as the Vandals had made it, which is like not to like be mean to them. It's more so just
field advantage.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm trying to point out is like the Vandals did really, really well on the opponent's map choice, and it seems like Pittsburgh's doing better on our map choice. And I don't know if that's overconfidence in certain strategies that they employ during their scrims and their practice.
Or we just put pick split. Which,
Yeah.
I don't know. What's happened? The Killjoy does find one. But we do see the Visal coming out as well.
Jams the jammin'.
Zoms finds himself one. Sergio finding a trade. Snoopy finding a trade. Kawa taking out Cantidus. Sentisism taking out Paul. Rodby forced out of tree. Too much pressure on Kawa here. Finds his one, but while about there for the trade and able to tie things up.
6-6 and about to go into the next half.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good odds for both teams here. Vandals with a pretty rocky end of the half, and Pitt finally finding the ground that they needed to cover throughout the series. And you know, maybe they bring that momentum deeper into the second half, hopefully for a map win.
I think they're starting to slightly resolve that dichotomy I was referring to earlier. It seemed like, hey, stop going for the kills, stop playing for ones. Like, let's actually lock up and solidify our defenses, because that's what you could definitely see towards the end was they were actually playing defense like defenders rather than as offenders.
And I think later on in the half especially, that really just came down to that shaky economy that the Vandals were experiencing with earlier.
It ruined like 3 to 4 rounds for them.
I mean, it would have been safer most likely to take that cheaper save round just so you'd have money to play with later on, even if it means you ended up losing that round, right?
Because it's better to sacrifice the 1 round now than the 2 rounds later.
which is
absolutely
exactly what happened.
Yep.
What led to that 4-round loss streak that the Vandals had at the end of the half, which
100%
hopefully
agree.
looking to correct as they go deeper into this map, this half. Fraudby finding a late one. Even out those numbers a little bit for the Vandals. Kawa hearing that flank.
Swarm grenade out.
Calming for the rotate. Already got the swarm grenade in main, but as Zoms hits that updraft, they have no more util to play with for this half and kind of cut off the rest of their team. It was fine. You know, no one was there.
I mean, but even if
Oh,
okay, Fraudby,
nice
show
shot
what's
from
up.
Fraudby.
Unfortunately, Bullets here wasn't able to capitalize off of that, but Kawa will be.
Oh, will Zoms. Oh, Cantidus. Oh, rest of the team's kind of split right now.
They're not dedicating
it's a
towards
3.
one side. They keep on flicking between targets, and it's causing their aim to be all kind of cattywampus.
Move in. Got it?
Especially with how Cantidus was positioned towards main. You know, playing at a waterfall is just not the greatest position. And you know, then all of your teammates end up being crit health. You get blocked off by the vice wall. It isolates the rest of your team. Creates too much pressure you just can't deal with too well.
Then, like a stack of dominoes, one by one by one by one. But Vandals should lose this round if there's anything just in the power dynamic of the battle.
Who knows?
It's the right games.
Zoms finding himself one, taking out
Going for the
Fraudby in
longest
link.
flank known to mankind.
I mean, he's got a deep flank, but not really the firepower to handle it, right? He's only holding that classic. Snoopy's already here, pretty deep as well.
I mean, I could only assume the classic uses 7mm, which is basically
planted.
literally nothing.
Oh, well, I mean, Bradical gets a shot on the Snoopy, so that's great.
They have
Kawa playing a little bit more aggressive. On the flank, it still falls.
We'll be able to take down Snoopy.
Able to find that trade and
All missiles
not
away.
able to get the rifle off of it. They're in a... Oh, well, they get the smoke down, so never mind. I lied. Sergio running in.
I'll take it.
Sensicism finding that nice shot.
One enemy remaining.
Yeah, it's just not a situation built for them. Bradical able to find that late trade, but Zom's able to follow that up.
And Breach living there with a tiny smidge of HP just really helps saying, hey, Wildbot's going to keep a little bit more gold going forward. What was that?
I was
Okay.
informed that JV2 is in their 5th overtime of map 1.
Map.
Mind one.
Oh my
Map
goodness.
1.
How do you eat? How does that even happen?
This literally happens like all our JV teams. For those who like didn't follow our teams earlier on in the regular season, for some reason all of our teams would end up in like these super long overtimes for absolutely no reason at all. It's
There's
so
a reason,
funny.
because it's funny.
It is fun. They're like, let's just do it for the lore.
And you know, normally I wouldn't be opposed to more content. The only thing is, I want our teams to win. I want them to say,
Caution
hey,
here.
I don't care if it's boring. I don't care if it's cheesy. Secure the win, get your trophy. Yeah, you give us the cred. That's
Oh,
easy. Both teams getting a solid 2 pickouts, with the only people remaining being really utility based. 2 utils and 1 duelist.
oh. Cut off for a second. Cantidus taking quite a bit of damage there from Fraudby.
They take out Cantidus, then they go ahead and get the return on
Fraudby looking for the
enemy
ego,
remaining.
finds the damage on Cantidus, finds the damage on Sensicism as well, able to finish that round off, get the defuse. Another round on the board.
You know what, Fraudby? You go, man. You show him who's boss.
He needs that win for sure, and I think the whole team did. After losing those first 2 rounds of the half, losing the first or the last 4 rounds of last half as well. I mean,
They
it
need something to
seems-
solidify their spirits after the rather crushing losses. I totally understand.
again, you don't want to lose that lead. And again, in the first map that went so well, you're looking for all of those things that just went absolutely perfect for you to happen again.
But
and
it's not going to happen again. As much as you want to try and force it, you have to adapt to your new environment.
Indeed. Frogby finding an opening pick on the Zombs as they try to run out of lobby. Playing off the util perfectly here. Oh, and Cabo running with his knife out. Happens.
Timing diff.
Many such cases.
It is only until I recently started getting more invested in competitive shooters that how prevalent
down.
timing diff is in these circumstances. It happens legitimately all the time.
Ooh, Wowbot finding Frogby radical there. The trade, Sergio taking out Snoopy. And finding the last damage needed on Sentism to finish out that round. Map is tied back up at 88 for the Vandals versus Pitt Greenberg.
Honestly, it should become 8-9 our favor. It's pretty good. Pitt Greensburg kind of don't have a whole lot of money to play with here. Them losing both those rounds in a row ruined the economy they had built up from the first 2 rounds. And now it's to the point of, okay, you have to play off our timers now, and if the Vandals are able to take advantage of this, it's going to be a repeat of what happened in the first half, but our favor. But we see a slow crawl towards the entrance. And Armageddon would go so crazy right now.
I don't think they're going to hit it just yet. I think they're mostly... Oh, well, I mean, neither team has it right now, so...
Yeah, it was a hypothetical.
Oh, yeah.
But
We do have the Annihilation on board, though.
that is true.
Which would be useful in a retake
I mean, a mass
from the Vandals.
Well, even just the mass concuss here would allow them to have a really effective flank.
I mean, they know that Frogby's there. They're sending that crawler deep in there. They're sending the Annihilation out, delaying that plant late. Oh,
One enemy
Zombs!
remaining.
Not getting caught in it and being able to find Ball and Frogby, but Sergio there on that flank, finishing up the round with the help of Radical.
The Lonely Sheriff fighting the horde and horde of Vandals running around the corner.
It's going to be a lead confirmed from the Vandals. And one last opportunity to keep things competitive for Pitts here on a pretty desperate force.
I would say if they force this and lose here, they'll have a one last chance afterwards where they're going to give up 2 rounds and then have to... There's one.
Get out of my way.
Yeah. If they lose this, they'll have one last chance, and if anything goes wrong with that, it's over. But the Vandals are in a very similar situation.
Can we get Cam? That's wow. I mean, that's funny, ain't it? Pops the kunai off back, Crawler finds him and is just like, you know what?
I'm a lead.
No. You don't get to knife here. Kunai are obviously back in the hands of Zombs, but still no information for the rest of Pitt to play off of.
And right now, any second that is delayed is a second in our favor.
Now, I will say I don't fully like this position from Radical just because it's much easier for Zombs to take advantage of that here. I lied. There's Util coming out.
Not going to take down Zombs. Okay, now we take down Zombs.
Yeah. Oh, there was no need to push up just yet because it was only them. Ooh, Fraudby getting unlucky with those
30
shots.
seconds left.
Traded by WoW. Numbers in the favor of Pitt. See the Visol coming out as well, but Kawa is there for it just before losing that primary.
And Razold almost took down another member of the team as Wowbot does get finished off by Serial.
10 seconds left.
Okay, Kawa.
Kawa
And here
finding
comes the
kill after
Armageddon.
kill. Cantidus running and gunning, but Sergio there to finish it up.
And that is what we have been looking for. Oh my goodness, that was played so clean. I feel bad for Zombs, though.
I do too.
Kunai, okay? Drone comes out.
Dashes in.
Flash,
I mean,
concuss, darkness, another concuss, shot in the head.
which is good, right? Because as the duelist, when you're entering, if you're baiting utility off of
You
your
wanna take as
opponents
much
that's
as you
better,
can.
right? But not only do you have to front all of that utility, you kind of have to watch your team collapse later in the round anyway, even
there's
when your
nothing you
enemies
can do about
don't
it.
have as much utility to play off of. I feel like the Vandals have been getting really strong about their util usage and playing off of it, and that's just not something that Pitt has been able to play into too well.
And yeah, sure, that has its own set of issues. But just watching as you go down, and then you're like, okay, I set you guys up as best as I could. They don't have the flashes, they don't have the concusses. Do what you can to shoot these enemies. And here comes the reverse Armageddon as it comes from Pittsburgh.
Which I don't really like that goal a lot.
It was only.
It was literally only for Fraudbay, which
Yeah.
I guess they got another one down. Zombs is crit health, so is trying to bait.
Spike planted.
Snoopy takes down Bull as well. Never mind. This round going pretty well for
Well,
Pitt. Never
and
mind.
I kind of agree with you. Armageddon, I
Last
think, would be
player
much better
standing.
for post plant here.
Wolf.
Okay then. Well, okay then.
Wowbot holding that door.
Wowbot, if you push forward, you're gonna fall like the rest of your brethren. Don't do it.
Kawa doesn't really want
Or
to
do it,
push
it'd be
this.
funny.
They do. He is kind of getting surrounded though. Do have Zombs pretty deep into that, but holding anyway. That's a 3 for Kawa.
Look, even if we do lose this here, Kawa taking down 3 of them is got to be so morally debilitating.
I mean, I just don't think there's
Oh,
any
that's so
situation
unfortunate.
in which Kawa does win that. Just everything was positioned. You're playing against the smoke in main.
And the thing is, I don't think you plan on winning, but taking down 3 people when Pittsburgh already has such a strained economy is huge.
Very, very big.
I need a drop.
And now both teams have that strained economy.
Yeah, the only 2 people really doing good right now is Wildbot and Sergio. But that's because Sergio has a way cheaper buys for utility.
Indeed.
By any means
Going into
necessary.
this next round with a lot on the line for both teams. Obviously, Pitt looking to take it into a map 2 and still having a little bit of distance to push past in order to do that. And the Vandals obviously just looking to close out the second map, advance to quarterfinals.
There.
But whoever wins this round should take next round, and that will either tie up the score or set it to match point. Whichever one happens is going to determine the flow of the rest of the match. This is probably going to be one of, if not the most impactful rounds that people have to be ready for.
Off your feet!
And it
See the
immediately starts off with Annihilation.
Coming out from Hit. See the vines out in Waterfall. I think that should be a site confirmed.
It absolutely should be.
Radical seeing a little bit. Oh, of Zombs just not able to finish it off.
Radical being taken down this early is really unfortunate. He didn't even get to use his smokes.
But we do see the Killjoy ult coming out for the counter ult. Wowbot does take out Kawa. Bull there for the trade. And I think that pressure is Snoopy taking down Bull. No one caught in the KJ this time.
Go get him.
I don't know if Sergio will be
Last
able
player
to
standing.
clean up this round.
I mean, he found his one. Got the money.
But now we have to go for an econ. We cannot force this round, otherwise we are going to be falling into the same trap as before. And Fraudby is immediately going for a force.
Well, I think we're gonna use this timeout to discuss it. We have the timeout for this half. We're gonna use it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just
They need to develop a specific strategy for they're going to handle the situation. This is the home stretch. If we want an early victory, if we want to make sure, hey, we're guaranteeing quarterfinals.
for either team.
Yeah.
Really, for UPIT to keep this competitive and take this into map 3, for the Vandals to finish this off and advance into the next stage of playoffs. I mean, for both teams, there's a lot on the line.
Yeah.
Right? There's a
Pitts
lot
will
that they
earn-
need to consider with the way that they're playing this half that I feel like is getting in the way of a lot of things.
It's as close to earning their death defy here and reestablishing a chance for victory. But I really hope we're able to do this. I do not want them to fumble this. They
course, I
really
don't
do
either.
have the odds here of just securing 2-0. But we can't be getting caught out like that. We can't be.
I do agree. And in a situation like this, too, it's 10-10. Obviously, the Vandals were playing on not great economy going into that round, and even worse economy going into this one.
Thumbs open.
Seems like there's going to be a little bit of heavy buys, but nothing, I guess, too rash. Playing a little bit more aggressive when we don't really need to be, at least in this moment anyway, right?
I mean,
Sergio on a full save. Some of his teammates have rifles and normal guns.
I mean, the hope could be, hey, like, have Fraudby trade 1 or 2, and then go ahead and pick up either his gun or their gun and like secondary engage. Because Zoms just gets immediately taken out by Kawa.
Yeah, the swarm grenades being on point. Bull almost taking out Snoopy. Wowbot taking out Kawa through Waterfall as well.
Snoopy would have died there if it wasn't for the overheal effect.
Wowbot knows that the door was hit.
Spike planted.
I don't like
Almost hit by the stun.
forward
Finds the
Sergio's
1,
playing.
finds the 2. I mean, we kind of just have to run the round down, which makes sense. So much pressure on both teams here.
Wowbot gets an easy quad, and that's what I was saying. Don't force here. It's not worth it.
Now, I think we have the money to play with for this round.
Barely.
Obviously,
barely.
just barely, but honestly, should be enough for us to turn this around. Obviously, Pitt just got to 11 points.
But if we're
lose this
down
round,
10, next round is going to be a loss.
Well, absolutely. I mean, there's just no way that we're able to come back from that.
So, Vandals,
and we really do need
please,
to lock it in.
we
However,
love you. You're doing great. Don't fumble.
there's absolutely a possibility where even if we win this round, Pitt wins the next one.
The
Which
two drones just saying hi to each other.
my favorite Tejo thing.
Just casually giving each other a crisp high five while saying, hey, I see you over there.
I see
You
you.
gotta see me.
Yeah, I see you. Well, bot using a flash just for that box, which I don't know why
Honestly,
Breach.
not the worst.
Why do Breach players use Yuto like that?
I mean, guaranteed
Radical
safety,
taking out
but then
Wowbot.
he's immediately taken out anyway because he didn't use it around the next corner.
Fraudby taking out Zoms, taking out Sentism. Cantidus needs to get that spike down, knows it. The pressure is on.
Player standing.
Fraudby taking out Cantidus and Ball taking out Snoopy. A flawless round out of the Vandals.
What is going on? You know what? I respect it. I'm not a question. All I'm going to say is,
Flawless.
Wowbot, your use of utility was a little bit weird. I'm going to be honest there. Radical just kind of stole the show with his flashy gimmicks, and then everyone just played off that and killed everybody.
My friend, if it works, it works.
Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes we leave it at that.
Yup. Sometimes we do. Sometimes we do.
Because now it's tied back up 11-11, almost to overtime, as both teams are honestly not in the worst position. If whoever loses this round will have another chance next round because they barely have enough scraps to be able to get by. But this is just both astounding and confusing in the way that stuff is being handled. Okay,
Well,
we know they're not going to push towards A, so that we know they're congregating towards B and C here. I expect a slow rotate over. Yep, here it comes.
yeah, Zoms for the look. We have the Visalt to pressure anybody who is trying to hold this side off. I think they heard Kawa in the vine, but they're not.
Kawa gets out there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Robbie found Wabot. Bull playing with him in CT. Had the Annihilation out and Row in it. Bull. Snoopy getting dropped, but finding the ult. Sergio taking out Sentis and Cantidus.
Player standing.
Kawa taking out Zoms.
Is Candidus versus Kawa and Radical, but they are both at 0 HP. And they're both lining up. Don't do it.
Oh, dear.
I will look over the edge. I will look over the edge.
Wrong edge.
Look over the edge.
Cantidus is going to find
Kawa,
his
they're
timing as he
behind
does.
you.
Kawa's looking for it. He's making so much noise. Jumps down. Cantidus is going to be able to swing for free.
No!
Dude, if Cantidus has anything in his belt, it's the ability to find those timings. Let me tell you, man.
He's standing right behind me, isn't he?
I mean, and there
Always
was
has been.
there was just nothing that he could have done. right? Obviously, he was at low health. And when you're playing that ring around the rosy game, it's really just a matter of, am I going the right way? You'll never be able to tell until it's too late.
The only person who'll be able to tell is the person who is behind the other one.
That's true.
And when that happens, you've already lost.
Cantidus is the guy you want to be last alive in those clutch situations because, I mean, he's just playing.
Yep.
He is just playing mind games with the enemy
Ultimate
team.
ready. I can
He might be a psychology major the way he's analyzing how
I can
people are
choose that.
reacting right now.
We do have the Armageddon online for UPIT. No ults up just yet for the Vandals.
Bomb buddy out.
In a round that might be detrimental if we don't have it. I mean, the last time it was a situation like that, I called the ult out, it got used, and it
All
was pretty
missiles
bad.
away.
I
Pretty
mean,
bad.
yeah, the loss of Annihilation there really, really struggles, especially since it hit Sergio.
Mm-hmm. Soompi being able to pull that ult off when it really mattered. Not getting caught in the Armageddon either.
Okay, Fraud B, you need to win the... Oh, no. No, he got timing.
This literally happens all the time. He was on Teo, it happened last map. He was on Breach, it happened last map. It always happens. Rodby down very early into the round. Soompi also having taken quite a bit of damage as well. But
they're still alive and ready for more action. Okay, now they just have to play for post plant.
Off your feet!
see the Armageddon out as well. Cantidus taking out Sergio as they try to leave at a link. Valbot is up here. Kawa.
That was so unfortunate. I thought they were barely going to turn around fast enough before the flash hit and they could have won, but
It's all up to Paul, finding Valbot in heaven.
Go ahead.
Oh.
Stand your ground.
he's just going to... Okay, he does make it out. There are two watching over Spike
And he
now.
got that. No, he got the half, though. No.
Yes, he did get the half king.
Oh,
But
but
it
swings
doesn't
right
matter.
into Cantidus without his gun out.
Honestly, they could have just kept pre-firing, rotating one between another, and there's nothing he could have done.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, just the Armageddon alone caused so much pressure. I mean, I guess going in a tree was a better bet. I don't know if he knew that someone was on, or if he knew that someone was on site or not, because, I mean, obviously in this case there wasn't, but...
Because maybe he could have tried to stick it, but I don't think either way it would have worked out. They were starting to go so fast. Once you knew the Armageddon was coming out, that guarantees, hey, they're rotating over. You don't have time. You gotta go.
Very unfortunate that the Vandals had to drop that map. You know, they had a very strong beginning, of the map, of the first half, of the second half, kind of. But, you know,
So that means we're going to map 3, baby!
Yeah, it did seem that UPIT was able to patch up a lot of the issues that they were having, those small little mistakes that led to those very easy round losses back in Split.
You know, maybe...
Just got addressed pretty promptly on Lotus, allowing them to take that map. And now it's going to be leading them into a map 3 ascent, but will be a quick break before we go into that. So once again, go get yourself a snack, get yourself some water, go use the bathroom if you've been holding it, and
get ready for map 3.
yeah, we'll be right back.